Yo, hello guys. How's it going? Yo, Magarino, SDS. Easy, welcome. What's up, Kuba? Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool here. See if I can manage not having to move the webcam, or maybe I will. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That should sound fine. Let me know. Should be alright. It was it? I remember reading it wasn't, but I didn't look into it. I didn't really look into anything too specific. Or maybe I did. Maybe I did. Let's see. Right, here we have a picture of the tier text development team, as it was in 1999. I don't really know much about them because they were maybe the most secretive UK development team, really. But at the center there, with this mug, you see David Campbell, at the very center. That's the one of the two founders of TierTex. TierTex still exists. TierTex still exists, by the way. You cannot say the same for US Gold. But let's get this started, because when I play the game, right? And tomorrow is Monday. People are gonna get back to work and stuff, including myself. So let's not stretch this too far. Although it's not gonna be something like the length of the Fantasy Star retrospectives or anything like that. But okay, I also realized the layout for this one is outdated, but I'm gonna have to update that. But this works fine. This works fine. Not sure if I should keep the music, the background. What the fuck? Dude, Miracle Jam never ceases to make my dick very hard. And thank you very much for the host. What's up, guys? Welcome. We just started this very moment. Please go to don't make any extra efforts on Strider 2's account. Man, these efforts are good enough. Love this. A shit port of a shit game by a shit dev. That summarizes it pretty well, although I'm not actually quite not sure, because this came out so late. I'm not sure. I didn't actually look into what's the original version of this game, you know? Is it the like, does it have a version, like, is it, I'm imagining this is after, like, my conception is this is after the Amiga and other computer versions, but it's like way after, so it's different. That's what I thought too, so I didn't actually give it enough weight to look into it, Jiggy. I didn't think about looking into that, because this came out for all Sega's platforms at the time. This had a Master System and Game Gear release. We're gonna look into that in a second, so let's get started. Soldiers, Chubs, how's it going? Final Fantasy VII, how's it going? Oh man, that sucks, as yes. PlayStation 1 Strider 2 is the real deal, though. We're here to look at the fucked up shit. The Strider 2 on PlayStation 1 is a 1999 Capcom game for arcade cabs and PS1. We're gonna look into that right now, so without further ado, let's get this started. I have my sources and stuff as usual, so let's look into those. Alright, here you go. This is the box art. We'll have a chance to talk about it later. I just give you an anticipation. This is a painting done by Julie, forgot her name, like Bonnie. It's Julie Bell. She's actually the wife of Boris Vallejo. That's something I learned today. I didn't actually know that. They have a pretty similar style though, but we'll look into that as well. Let's take a look at some advertisements here. Julie Bell, that's right. 5 ferocious levels though, SDS. Don't underestimate 5 ferocious levels. You might have to regret that later. Actually, want to see what's it saying there. Alright. Journey from Darkness, Strider returns. So the Grandmaster didn't learn his lesson. Fingering your power blade, your rage explodes as you plot your revenge. You crushed his last assault, but now he's back to wreak havoc on the Earth. No capital letter on the Earth. It's the shitty version of Strider, and thus it's the shitty version of Earth apparently. This time, he and his legions of Nimrods are ready to make the planet one big black hole. The coward has even captured your beloved Lexia as insurance. Only a fully trained Strider can stop their evil conspiracy. Armed with laser swords and shurikens, you bravely journey to their space station hideout. 5 ferocious levels. See what else it's got for us. Light strike robotic horrors into submission. That sounds fun. Hold on, OBS's source managing from the preview is not the friend list of things, and this is not a YouTube video, so. Slash and hack your way with a choice of 2 power swords. It's got weapon choice, it's already better than the original. Beware of the Mechanobirds. The Mechanobirds. Savage air assault in the Forbidden Forest. Swing across perilous traps while launching your own assault. Let's see if I can get the rest. This jank attack I got. Dominate the Master's Warriors with your aerial acrobatic attacks. See, it came out for Game Gear as well, but we know it came out for the Master System. Master System 2. And you get a glorious face here. Let's get a zoom into that one. Get a zoom on that guy. This game came out for literally everything Final Fantasy VII, but this particular very curious version came out for the Mega Drive, basically. But the same developers put out a version of Strider 2, the US Gold version of Strider 2, developed by TierTax on also every computer that was popular in Europe at the time. Mainly the Atari ST, the Commodore 64, and the Amiga, really. Also my cat, apparently, likes this game, so... Jeez. Alright, so... let's get back to the game, shall we? Strider 2 is a game put out by US Gold and likely developed by TierTax for the Sega Mega Drive, and it released in March 1993 in Europe. United States release would come in August of the same year. Under the name of Journey from Darkness. Shut up. Journey from Darkness, Strider Returns. That was the name in the American version. It was also the name for every release that came out for the Game Gear, apparently. The Master System would also get his share of British Strider 2 fun. And all of these games' versions and regions on all platforms released in 1993. Yes, Becky and Amstrad, of course. That's true. And there's more. There's another version that was mentioned. We'll talk about later, SDS, but didn't actually quite make it. Yeah, as expected. This came out earlier. Hey, Mango. Damn it, let's try my fucking... Shh. I think she farted. Smell poop. Alright. Okay, let's talk about US Gold. Talk about US Gold. Now take a good look at the first logo, and we're gonna talk more about why is it called US Gold, which is something that strikes the most interesting at first, because this is a British company, but it's called US Gold. There you go, all American software. Gonna take a look at that. Gonna take a deep look into that. I'll show the other logos, but everybody's familiar with this one, of course. US Gold, the group and publisher responsible for what we're about to play, Strider 2, was a British company, even though their name leads to other conclusions. They handled a lot of computer releases on various platforms and developed and published games from 1984 to 1996, when the group was acquired by no less than Eidos. Bilbao, what's up? Welcome. Neither US or gold. Oh man, let me not elaborate on that. The company was founded in April 1984 by Jeff Brown. There you go. This is Jeff Brown before US Gold. This is Jeff Brown after US Gold. It reminds me of someone famous in the first picture, right? But I can't picture it. Anybody? I bet some Italian meme I'm thinking of. Now, the company was founded in order for Centersoft to have a publishing division, but I always try my best not to go too deep into the company intertwinings. But basically, it's what became later the Center Goal Group under his direction and property. So basically, he had to make at some point, as we will see, US Gold in order to publish game for his main gig, Centersoft. Now, the core of the development team for the US Gold games were actually Silicon Dreams and Core Design. Might recognize those logos. That second one in particular, I guess. Now, the former Silicon Dreams actually a result of their own employees, whereas the latter is an acquired studio, Core Design. They basically bought it. Amusingly, they also did have an American subsidiary, US Gold Incorporated. I guess I didn't need to change the name for that one, right? Established on January the 25th, 1992, so pretty late on, like in the mid of the lifespan, which, let's remind it, went from 84 to 96. Zero Fantasia per il nome, bella, what's up? Yo, Il Forgets, thank you very much for the raid. Pure grazie mille, come preferisci. Welcome. We just started. We're gonna look at some game developer company history here, and we're about to play a very interesting game, which is a British Strider 2, not the Capcom Strider, but a British Strider. So they got the American subsidiary, the same name. Those would handle the North American, like the Genesis release of Flashback. Remember the French masterpiece Flashback, which we played and which we did a very big, and I have very fond memories of that lore stream. So among other things, they released that. Perhaps we have to thank them for that comic that was included in the American version of Flashback's manual. Again, this is no cat stream, but if I don't pet her, she will not let me do my thing. So just putting at her slip. She's old and needy. All right, let's. A lot of people, like everybody, shits on US Gold for for a very good reason. Like at least nowadays. But I mean, let's bring up some figures to highlight how successful of a business US Gold was from the very start. By importing American games and reselling them at a lower price, by 1985 US Gold projected a turnover of $6 million American dollars for the first fiscal years, expected to release further 150 games in the year to come, which is interesting. It's just fucking a game laundering machine, US Gold. Just fucking game laundering. In 1988, US Gold received the Golden Joystick Award for Software House of the Year. So, you're shitting on 1988 Software House of the Year, guys. Watch it. So, that all ended. US Gold ended in April 1996 when Eidos Interactive, or is it Eidos? Well, Eidos acquired the entire Center Gold umbrella, including US Gold, for 17.6 millions of pounds. Is it pounds? Great Britain? I'm ignorant. Game laundering enterprise, indeed. That's a good way to put it. Oh man. Fucking laundering game. Now, the origins of the name US Gold, as we mentioned, have to do with Jeff Brown's admiration for American video games. He started importing them and then eventually ran into the need of a brand to sell other people's game with. That's what US Gold did, right? Selling other people's game at the beginning, at least. A bunch of them, bunches and bunches of them. So something interesting that I learned from an interview is Geoff Brown made a move into the stock market, and their interviewer was like, yeah, you were the first man to bring video games to the stock market, I think, or to go to the stock market with a video game company. That sounds far-fetched, but it could be. Maybe in Europe, maybe in the UK, probably, that could be. He made a move into the stock market with a successful company, already successful, but he felt like he wanted to cash in more after all of those efforts and struggles. It was like, this is really enough for me. Can I get more? So he went to the stock market, which would prove to be a bit difficult. Would prove to be difficult to be understood in that business as a video game person at the time. It was like, I'll get there and I'll get, hey, blah, video game. And they were like, what? Videos. Oh yeah, videos. But you can find that very personal interview I'm referring to over here on YouTube. I guess the video has like 200 views. But yeah, all of that is also in this paste bin. This year, my goal for this year is to make my own website. I have the skills for it, so I can have all the repository for all this video game developer lore, like page by page, and you can click stuff. For now, it's a shitty paste bin, but that's okay. All right, let's talk about US Gold and the Strider license. All right, let's get to the good stuff. I'm gonna put up something, guys. All right, this is, I believe, the Amiga box of Strider 2, which came out a couple years before. No limits, no mercy, no surrender. That's the US Gold policy right there, guys. That's the US Gold policy. Man, this Matt Furniss music, I was like, which music for this lore? And I was like, British. Matt Furniss, the god of Mega Drive and Amiga music. Undiscussed god of Mega Drive soundtracks. Now, most people know Strider as a Capcom game, for good reason, but this Strider 2 seems to be the result of US Gold having the license to port the original game. Capcom would later release, as we say, their own Strider 2 in 1999 for arcade cabinets and the Sony PlayStation. US Gold had handled all of the overseas PC conversions of the original 1989 arcade game, Astrid CPC, Commodore 64 and Amiga, and the spec-key, the ZX Spectrum, of course. The Sharp X68000 version was handled by Capcom themselves, while Sega took care of the Mega Drive and Master System versions. Remember, guys, the early Sega releases of Capcom ported games were actually developed by Sega. That was not a bad thing, because those ports are fucking awesome. Just think about Strider. I think people say that they think this Mega Drive port of Strider is better than the original. Golds and Ghosts. Now, Dama Kamura is fucking awesome on Mega Drive as well. Basically arcade perfect. So Sega took care of the Mega Drive Master System version of Strider 1, as Capcom had a deal with Nintendo at the time that wouldn't let Capcom develop for other consoles. I guess they could develop for home computers. There was there's a shitty, I haven't played it, but it looks shitty. There's a shitty PC Engine CD version. It was released very late in 1994 and handled, I think, by NEC themselves. So let's take another good look at that shit. Alright, so another company of great interest to us in US Gold is, of course, Tiertex. Let's get some logos. Let me get rid of some faces. Let's get the logos up. Yeah. I think the latest one is basically the actual one, as they still exist and do stuff, although I don't know, or I don't even think it's game related, as the last video game credits to Tiertex are like early 2000s, so. MSX? Hey Maury, what's up? Okay, so Tiertex was established in 1987 in the UK as Tiertex Limited, Plus I can bring those back. It would churn out an impressive amount of games for US Gold, like so many. If I had a picture here. Yep. Bring those back. Bring these back. Impressive amount of games for US Gold, but also a number of other publishers such as EA, Activision, THQ, Lego Media, and BBC worldwide, up to the early 2000s. Back in the day, though, for US Gold, they didn't exactly build a quality reputation, as they would produce heaps and heaps of computer ports, which were likely done in an incredibly short amount of time, and deemed just good enough by the US Gold. I don't know, quality test. The TierTechs did provide, like, what they did is they would provide full development services to publishers, from game design to coding, doing the graphics and doing the audio, music, and sound effects, providing the tools for themselves and testing. So a 360-degree service there for video game developing for publishers. Now, perhaps, and this is very funny, perhaps the most infamous quote is about the Strider version that never happened. Yeah, there's a bunch of logos, Cuba. I just cannot like put everything. Like 6,000 other TierTechs logos, by the way. Yes. The Strider version never happened, as a really infamous quote related to it, which is gonna be fun to show. It's the version for this computer, the Sam Coupe. It's a coupe. Oh man. The version never happened on the Sam Coupe, a computer that failed straight away, mainly due to the delayed release and consequent low support, as the computer didn't really have the specs to be appealing to anybody, let alone software houses, as its slogan was like, buy the computer that grows with you, as it was supposed to be super easy to install new memory and just power it up. But it was delayed and then delayed again. They came out so late, like a full year later in 1990. I don't even know that the little support it got, even though like it got like the Lemmings and Prince of Persia port, which are pretty big licenses, it just wasn't enough. Like the core of this computer's game libraries by small software houses that were basically put together beforehand to support the computer. It didn't really get enough support to make it. It basically failed. Straight away out of the gate, this computer failed. So here's the infamous quote. Let me actually screen cap from my document here. I'm gonna screen cap and I'm gonna, it's so awesome that I'm gonna fucking this is such an awesome quote, I'm just going to bring it here. If, as with Strider, we've already produced games across all common formats, all we have to do is simply take the code from the Speccy version and the graphics from the Atari ST version, and sort of mix them together. It should take one bloke around 2 weeks at most. Like the bloke part. So this is basically comments that software houses would throw around by talking about the Sam Coupe. Sam Coupe. I'm gonna go with Coupe because there's an accent there. Might be French. But this is pretty good. What's up, Echo and Pavel? So that's that's US Gold's policy right there, guys. US Gold's US Gold's quality seal and development policy is right here. Right here. This cracks me up so hard, man. This is so fucking hilarious. So that version never came out, obviously. More to the detail. More to the detail. There's more. There's more. I'm gonna read it. It's a quote from somebody from US Gold. I don't know who exactly. Might be even Jeff himself. We are getting a very experienced programmer at TierTechs called Chris Brunning to produce a Sam Coupe version of Strider for us. Supposedly, it will only take 2 weeks using our existing speccy code and ST graphics. We'll have to see. In my mind, I picture it looking a bit like a Konix console game. I think Konix was one of the smaller labels US Gold had. Like budget releases. Like basically US Gold games imported from America, but like budget releases, less expensive. Although US Gold games were already cheap because they were importing games from the States and selling them in Europe for a lower price. I picture it looking a bit like a Konix console game, lots of colors but without the resolution of the Atari ST, so it will all look a bit duller and flatter. It's a bit of a tryout for us. If it does really well, we'll be happy to continue to support it, Sam Coupe, but we could still come across any number of problems. Yeah, if you're interested in knowing more about the Sam Coupe, teach me how to pronounce that, by the way. Here's a link to a brief and well done article. But I should hire Kuba for linking shit. Dre, what's up, Dre? Welcome. Yeah, the Final Fight Amiga development is very troubled. You can find comments of the developer online saying like, I remember reading something from that developer, Amiga Final Fight, saying something like, it's easy to see how shitty a game is, but you have no idea what I went through in development. Sometimes you have no choice but to put out a shitty game as a developer if you have no tools or no time, or worse. Yeah, SDS. The reputation of these guys on the Amiga especially seems to be very bad. Seems to be very bad. Okay, so you have the link there. Now let's bring back bring this guy back. Get rid of the Sam computer. Keep this one. Get rid of that one. Dude, isn't this fun? I'm playing with pictures. Like a fucking collage. Let's talk about the US Gold Legacy. Now, the last game to be released with a US logo on it would be Olympic Games Atlanta 1996, released in June of that year. Now, that's a full 3 months after Eidos Interactive bought US Gold. The whole aftermath of this process was basically Eidos selling off Centresoft and Silicon Dreams. So basically, Centresoft and US Gold went along together. Basically, the same owner. US Gold was made to publish for Centresoft. You know, it was company business. They're boring, and we don't really want to go too deep into. Let's see if I can keep my word there. I doubt it. So Eidos sold Centresoft and they sold Silicon Dreams there. They sold Silicon Dreams, but they kept Core Design. Silicon Dreams was the in-house US Gold team, so they got rid of that shit. They kept Core Design though, that was an acquired studio. They kept Core Design as a known development studio. They also discarded the US Gold brand, that shit, it's all gone. Whose father, Jeff Brown, did not bother bringing back when he bought Silicon Dreams back from Eidos to found GBH, Jeff Brown Holdings. GBH would then change its name into Kaboom Group after founding Allyomotion and acquiring attention to detail. It also acquired Pivotal Games and more boring stuff. Kaboom Group, which I couldn't find any info on, died out in August 2003. Silicon Dreams would finally be closed, and so would Attention to Detail. Pivotal Games will be acquired by SCI, who were ironically the owners of Eidos by then. Pivotal also closed on August 2008, whereas Allyomotion Studios, here's the interesting bit, if I have a logo, I don't, but it doesn't matter. Audio Motion Studios. Recap. Audio Motion Studios is another company by that guy, the father of US Gold. Set up a company called Audio Motion Studios, which basically did. Let's talk about what it does now. It works as a contract company for not only the game but also the movie business with motion capture services. But originally, it also did just like audio and video support for other companies. It was also a quite innovative and successful company because you can shit on US Gold as much as you want, and you have a reason to. But that was such a successful business. Like I brought the number up earlier. I brought the numbers up, and that's such a fucking successful business, dude, that US Gold came up with. So Audio Motion Studios worked even with materials such as Robbie Williams and The Gladiator. Even won an MTV award for the Robbie Williams shit on MTV. I'm gonna half conclude the developer shock there. I'm gonna get back at it when we talk about sound for sure. Dread Jester, what's up? Fun sharing, welcome. Oh, where you from? Italy here. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Rome, Italy. Yeah, Core Design is definitely the most known logo out of this shit, right? At least that's how I feel like. Quality chat lines today. Alright. So we're gonna move on to some eye candy. Always like me some eye candy, video game related eye candy. Get rid of this stuff. Get rid of the Text logos. Alright. So the Strider 2 artwork used in the Mega Drive box art, also used for the Game Gear and Master System versions, was painted by Julie Bell. Painted by this woman. The work is entitled Night of the Killer Max. Now, Julie Bell is a very renowned, successful artist, which I didn't know about before today, actually. And she is married to Boris Vallejo, which is another artist often involved in video game box arts. I'm sure many of you are familiar with him. He's another well-known artist who's also commissioned a lot of artworks, but we're not gonna look into them. We're gonna do that when that's relevant. So here's a picture of the two that are married, and I think their style is very similar as well, but not an expert. Yeah, Boris Vallejo. Yes, the very famous one. The very famous one, yes. Night of the Killing Max. Night of the Killing Max. Max, not Mac, is the name of this artwork. Let me give it a spin. I'm gonna give it a spin. Are you ready? You guys ready for the spin? Okay, here it comes. How fast can we go? It's gonna be fast enough. Yeah, easy. I really love looking to that stuff because I like the box packaging and artwork so much. Power Chasers, yes, they did so much stuff actually. The Echo cover? Hey Jade Riyad, welcome. Boris Vallejo did the Echo the Dolphin cover on Mega Drive. I didn't know that. Grew up with that game. I have a Japanese copy nowadays for some reason. I didn't know that. That cover art is so good, guys. I like that cover art so much. Like it somehow it conveys the how ominous and creepy the game is, you know? While having a dolphin face with 7 stars on it. Fucking Hokuto dolphin on the box art. Yeah, the Golden Axe stuff I know about. Hey Dre, you don't have to sorry for anything. All I see in chat are good lines. And informative shit. Franken, what's up? I'm gonna love this shit, Franken. I'm gonna love this shit. You should know by now. Should remember to look into that, Jiggy, when the time for Golden Axe 3 comes. So here's the website. If anybody wants to look at, if you like to indulge yourself in some beautiful artworks, there's a lot of stuff in here from the both of them. You can also buy the originals for some $1,000. Now, let's keep talking a little bit about Julie Bell. She seems to have done around 16 video game cover arts. That's according to Moby Games, including a few Mega Drive games, which cover arts I'm sure most of you will recognize, probably the last two. I'm gonna show you 4 of them. Aside from Strider 2, we have Caesar no Yabo 2, Warrior of Rome 2. Let's give this one a spin as well. There's a Mega Drive cover art. I apologize, but there's no way of getting higher resolution pictures of this, so the quality isn't the best. But you can tell it's quality. I, as a Roman, can tell you that face is very inspired by Roman statues. So is the hair, the hair of the guy, like the detail. Let's not even talk about the quality of that horse. Like, that horse could fucking kick you in the face as you're looking at the painting. Yeah, only Matt Furnace music and rearrangements as we do lore about British games, Cuba. The rest of the music is all from Rescue, an unreleased Mega Drive game with awesome music by Matt Furnace. Alright, so we got that, we got Warrior Rome 2, we got Double Dragon 5, The Shadow Falls. Which, interestingly, if you look at the box for this game, which I believe was Genesis only, as in it was only released in North America, but I could be wrong. It's also not that great of a game. Like, it's weird because they opted to use like the, I don't know, say this is the box art. Like, this artwork is only on one little stripe. The rest is like all yellow and shit. It's pretty dumb to have such a good artwork commissioned, because this was commissioned, right? And then have it used such a small area. Maybe because I think this came out on Game Gear too or something, so maybe they commissioned it so that it could be I don't know, dude. It seemed dumb when I took a look at the cover art, but I could find a full-size one. Yeah. Oh, she also did, now that you mention it, she also did some Super Nintendo games, box art, like Demon's Crest, for example. Yeah, if you look at that easy, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Alright. So next up we have this, which is maybe the most familiar for everybody. I know. I feel this is a very iconic superhero artwork, especially with the design. I like the positioning of the characters and their poses. And that black guy is so awesome. The black guy's forehead just fucking rules everything. He's the best. When I play Eternal Champions, I gotta play as that dude just for this artwork, man. Yeah, this is Eternal Champions. I didn't say that. This is Eternal Champions, a very popular, pretty well known at least, late release for the Sega Mega Drive and I believe Mega CD. Interesting that made use of the Sega activator as well. You could set the activator to the game. You could set Eternal Champions to be in activator mode, and the game would get easy as fuck because they knew it was gonna be impossible to win otherwise. Yeah, Socrates, I know, right? And last but not least, maybe actually this is more famous than the Eternal Champions one. You know why? Because this was used in the Japanese release as well. Splatterhouse 3 artwork by this woman. Let's not forget it. How awesome is that? Look at this fucking painting, man. That's all I have for the visual shock, guys. I wanna play the game also, so I'm not gonna show you the website. But again, if you want to see more, you just have to hope in Boris Vallejo and Julie Bell website. Just Bell. Bell does not fit in here for some reason. Yep, visual shock. Let's put a check mark on that. We got a shortcut for that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, stream values. So next up is my favorite part. It's my favorite part, but about the composer, I'm absolutely clueless, and I'm open to suggestions. Like let's meme it up. Let's add a new source. There. This is the sound shock, guys. Now, Project 2612, which is the best website for downloading Mega Drive soundtracks, by the way. 2612 being in honor of the Yamaha YM2612 chip inside the Mega Drive, has the composer for Strider 2 credited with the alias of XOR, like XOR. But no other game has that credit, and I can't find further information. And that's something very common in the game industry, with the game developer credits, as you know, as we all know, that's an issue. He's even listed under the list of unknown aliases and full names here on the VGMPF wiki, another good website for hot jams, lore. The Video Game Music Preservation Foundation wiki is a very good website I recommend to everybody interested in knowing more about composers' lore. Now, tier tags never included credits in their games, so this is just one of those video game development mysteries. They were really, really a secretive UK video game company. Somebody from Tier Tags who could possibly be XOR could be one of the following individuals from their audio staff: Donald Campbell, which by the way is the founder of Tier Tags, there at the center of the picture. Mike Davis, John Hancock, Mark Ortiz, John Prince, Mark Tate. Only John Hancock I've heard before. Like an old piano guy, did some video game music. I don't know about that, Socrates. I don't know about it. It's US Gold's fault for giving them 2 weeks to do a video game. I don't know about it. Still have to play Strider 2, so. What we do know, however, is what sound engine was used. The sound engine made by Donald Campbell. He wrote a sound driver which would convert MIDI files to the Mega Drive. It was used in 12 games for the system, so 12 Tier Text games for the system, including 2 titles which we already played in the Megamarathon: Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Everybody should play that game. If you play that game, you understand the horror of video game laundering schemes by fucking US Gold, man. The horror. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Winter Olympic Games, Lillehammer 94, which I really liked. It had good music too. That's where I remember John Hancock from. He did the music for that game. Remember, that was not long ago. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I probably streamed that 3 years ago. But Winter Olympic Games, Lillehammer 94, that was last year. That was super fun. I enjoyed that game a lot. It had good music. Sound driver is shit, but it had really good music by John Hancock. But here's the thing: Tier Tags were they were actually pretty good with sports games and like licenses. They handled a lot of licenses. Some movie games, but mostly sport games, and they actually achieved success through the sports games. So this Donald Campbell, he also wrote the sound driver used by Tier Tags for the Master System games, which was programmed in Z80 assembly, and it required music to be written with that. Like, the Z80 is the main processor in the Master System. It's a Zilog Z80. The Master System only having one processor, whereas the Mega Drive has two. It has the super powerful and ultra duper powerful at the time Motorola 68000. It's also the chip in an Amiga, and in the fucking beast of Japanese computer that was the Sharp X 68000. Hence the name. Hence the slogan on Mega Drive, 68000 Heart on Fire. So the Mega Drive added that processor, but it kept the Zilog Z80 as a co-processor just for handling audio. That's why stuff like the sound engines made by Bo and the other guy in the early days of Sega consoles, super early, like mid to late 80s, those sound engines that were built on Z80 assembly language and the Z80 chip, they already converted to the 68000 ones, language and chip, by Sega. So all the Sega music on Mega Drive is basically done using that tech on the basis. That's some tech audio lore for you. Now, Donald Campbell, this guy was actually Tiertech's founder, along with John Prince. This guy graduated from the University of Bradford for Electric and Electronic Engineering in 1987 and founded the company in the same year. Tiertechs didn't suffer as bad of a fate as US Gold, as they're apparently still operative. Don't ask me what the fuck they're doing, because I don't know that, but they're still operative. Donald Campbell is now maintaining a manager role at Tiertechs, as he's also working as a director in a company that offers estimations to the domestic construction industry, ProQuant Estimating Limited. So, again guys, just like the last lore stream, which was Phantasy Star 1, where Bo was managing a nuclear plant or something, what we learned from this is if you do video game music, you can do anything.